And a warm welcome to all of you. Thank you for joining us here for Streaming with Michael, our new live streaming event. And today's show is dedicated to all of you who we call the new dreamers. You're welcome to join us on our website by becoming a member of the iCreate portal. It's free to join, so go ahead and check it out. And for today's live broadcast, we're also streaming to our YouTube channel to act as an invitation to all of you that are watching us there. And if you're new to Ancient Wings, feel free to visit our About Us page on our website. I go into much more detail about my relationship with the Archangel Michael, my oversoul and my soul, in the role that my human self now plays, in what I consider to be, our natural state as a multifaceted soul being. But none of this really came to me easy. 14 years ago, Michael insisted that I change my relationship to the role I was playing back then as a conscious channel. He convinced me there was more freedom outside of the role I was playing as a channeler for him. If, and that is always a really big if, my human identity was willing to step back even more. And so I did, and I've never looked back. But he also warned me that this whole process of awakening will shift how we perceive ourselves. Michael knows that he is an archangel, but he also knows that he exists without any identity. And so do we, as being I am that, I am. So again, welcome. We are all about living a soul-filled life, outside so many traditions of what it means to be a soul here on earth as a human being, one that respects the human inside a new kind of partnership with the soul. For the last 40 years, it has been my honor to meet some of the most courageous people on this planet, because it's not an easy thing for our human self to do, to allow your soul to sit in the driver's seat of your own life. But that choice offers you something that your human self can't experience by itself. True freedom. True, authentic freedom. Not by participating in battle, but the freedom to experience a life that actually speaks to the heart of your own soul. The freedom to walk out of a life that's being managed for you, which for the most part represents a mental construct inside the collective consciousness of this human family. So imagine, just for the fun of it, living with your soul in the driver's seat, now as a conscious creator, while using this beautiful planet called Earth as a living mirror. Imagine how that would transform your relationship to everything you know and thought was true. Imagine embracing your life as being priceless through the act of loving yourself as you have never loved anything before. Oh, it all sounds really good. But a soul-filled life, from our experience, is not for the faint of heart, because it will transcend our thinking process by embracing your inner stillness. Imagine creating your own lifestyle, a life that is now being supported by your own energy, without having to depend on others to support you. This isn't just wishful thinking. This is your birthright. And if you're looking for more support for such a choice, then you're welcome to check out our online community called Masters Unplugged. So again, welcome. Let's start today's stream by stating the obvious. All of us are experiencing the best and the worst time to be a human being, right? The times that we are living in, these are times that have been prophesied for ages, as that also relates to our cosmic story, a story that included a relationship between the male and female parts of our soul that became polarized. So Earth was created as a place to help bring these two elements back into their natural state, back into balance. What Michael, my oversoul, has called Christ consciousness, a state of being that allows opposites of itself to coexist. Now that sounds boring as hell if you enjoy playing power games. So after all these lifetimes, here we are once again. But have you noticed that something has changed? Big time. We changed. There are now thousands of human beings living on this planet who made a conscious choice to become more aware of what it means to create your own experience. One that allows your own divine nature to also sit in the driver's seat of your life. That choice, that experience has literally changed everything. You can feel the impact from such a choice, as the light of your soul is now touching the heart of every human being. It represents both the end of some very old systems. And let's be clear, that can be kind of scary. We're seeing it right now. But it also represents the beginning of others. But the biggest change has everything to do with your sovereignty, allowing your own energy to now finally support you. And for most of us, that's a new experience, very new. So, it's been a wild ride to say the least. But in all these changes, some of us paused our story just long enough to realize that the whole point of the original self setting itself free was so it could experience countless versions of itself, each one with its own unique identity, while still being itself. It's why Earth was created, to help us get back to what feels sacred and divine, by slowing down our creative process so that we could more easily see what is interfering with our clarity, to now embrace being sovereign without the fear of not being connected to each other. That would be new for all of us. We can feel this awareness growing inside the heart of this human family, but we can also feel it not only highlights what we like about ourselves, that's the good part, right? But it also exposes what we don't like, what we haven't accepted, what we haven't shared our love with. So, inside those of you that are watching this stream, there's a deep understanding that this is the time all of us have been waiting for. You don't know how you know. You just do. It is no longer enough to give lip service for our soul's presence. It's time to allow it to share its own truth, to speak its own wisdom. It's time for our human self to let go of trying to manage our life. And again, if you've been following our service, you've heard these words many times before. It can feel like a broken record. Allow your soul to step forward over and over again. Only because the conditioning goes really deep. So my friends, let's take a deep breath and just feel into what we're sharing. Does it resonate with you? Very good. And as we also feel into the heart of this gathering, we can feel that all of you represent something really unique. It takes a lot of courage to represent yourself as the new dreamers. You just need a little guidance or support to make that real. Because our light now acts as a reminder that there is always, always another way. No matter what it might look like on the outside, in the way that we have chosen, has us placing a very high value on our own energy, on our soul's presence. We posted a chart on our homepage that offers more details of how that feels. And one of our all-time favorite suggestions for anyone who is sensitive to these changes is simply to stop. We've been using that method for many years, to simply stop and begin to feel what is always there in support of you. It's your own energy. Take a deep breath and allow yourself to feel what is your birthright to feel. Your own energy. Very good. All of us are very sensitive to these dramatic changes. They're happening all around us, and they're happening inside of us as well. Our physical bodies, they're doing their best to integrate so much of our light, but it's not easy for these physical bodies. All of us are witnessing a massive change in consciousness on this planet, one that will not only impact the human experience, but as well is having a huge impact on all of creation. We know it can feel unsettling, even frightening at times, if you're not fully connected to your soul. But change, in and of itself, this isn't something we need to be frightened of. Take a deep breath there. We've grown to accept the change of seasons on this planet. Maybe we don't like particular seasons, but we see how they are essential, an essential part of nature, nature's own balance and well-being, to have these 4 seasons. That too is happening inside all of us. Changes as an opportunity to do what? As an opportunity to refresh our own story, to now allow new potentials. But in this case, it's more than that. The change that we are feeling represents this time a complete reset. So, the good news is life is indeed changing. It needed to, big time. The bad news is it also feels really awkward to our human self. And if you're supporting yourself outside your own energy, as most human beings are, that can put you right in survival mode. And that can be truly frightening. So our joy is to act as supports to the change itself, and to those that are also willing to act as creators of their own experience. It is such an honor for us to be of service, because we know firsthand this is not an easy thing to do. We know firsthand it's a lot easier to point fingers and blame others and believe that life is just happening to us. But we also believe that the human experience is actually a gift. It's that precious. It gives us the opportunity to feel in slow motion how our conflicted thoughts and emotions impact the quality of our inner reality, reflected back to us while using Earth as a living mirror. That should tell you why most beings that exist off of this planet would never consider such an experience for themselves. And that should also tell you a lot about yourself, that you would be willing to explore the unknown in the name of your own freedom. And as so many human beings tend to look out into the stars for guidance and support, it is the non-physical realms that are now looking at you in awe of what you've been able to do in service to this very thing called freedom. So when you watch these ongoing conflicts on the world stage that are impacting millions of lives, it would appear that our life as a human being is being threatened on a daily basis. But what you're really seeing is the complete breakdown of a very old system, one that existed long before Earth was even created. We know that most of you, like all of us, would prefer a more gentle transition, but we also know that millions of human beings no longer have the patience or the tolerance for all these power games. So for years, we've relied on beings off of this planet, including beings like Archangel Michael, to share a bird's eye view of what is unfolding. Michael loves supporting us because he loves the human being itself, to reassure us that what we see and feel on this planet is but the beginning of something new, something that speaks to our heart. So the change all of us are witnessing, it goes to the heart of all these power games. But how does one maintain a healthy perspective without getting pulled into the game itself? Well, from Michael's perspective, being on this planet, but not of it, is essential at this time. Not because you don't care, it's because you do care, but you realize you lose your clarity when you get entangled inside all the drama that keeps your being and doing parts from embracing each other. Because with all that, because what all of us have discovered was somewhat disappointing, at least for your human self. We discovered that the human identity is not qualified or capable by itself to navigate these extreme changes and stay in balance without the presence of your soul. Your soul resonates to a feeling that all is well, despite all the changes. But for that to be even real, we need to stop making our human self feel responsible for creating such a life. It needs the support and guidance from our soul. So we understand. A lot of people have given lip service to the existence of a soul being, but it's rare to meet someone who has embodied such a presence. But that too has changed. There are more people right on this planet that are fully conscious of their soul's presence than ever before. But once again, why is it so difficult to maintain a connection? Well, we could point to the collective consciousness that all of us live alongside every single day, and we could make that the problem. But from our experience, the biggest influence to feeling disconnected goes right to the heart of your own soul. Your human self. It has discovered that your soul will never push its way into your life. It must be invited. But more than that, it must be allowed. Feel into that for just a moment. More than just invited, more than just prayed to, it must be allowed. And can you feel, as you feel into that inside of us is this internal wall of resistance to actually feeling that all is well. And that is perhaps the hardest part for your human self to accept. Because allowing to the human part just sounds like giving up. And in a way it is. Your human self must be willing to give up the battle that exists inside of itself. Your soul has a very unique perspective. If being human represents the opportunity for your soul and human self to now coexist, it wants that relationship to be based on trust. And it does that by not forcing its way into your life, even though it's the one that incarnated into these physical bodies to begin with. So we know the human mind, it might speak a lot about allowing, but it has a really hard time letting go of managing your life. That is not new to any of you. This push and pull kind of relationship, that's been going on for a very long time, through countless lifetimes. So, the pressure to choose, to act, and then finally to allow, for your human self has never been so intense. Why is that? Because, my friends, this is the time throughout the history of the human species to move completely out of the power games that have ruled this planet for the longest time. And we know all of you can feel this in your heart. But you can also feel that those very games didn't originate from being on this planet. Where did they come from? From Michael's perspective, we brought them with us from the non-physical realms. And the very same players that were threatening the lives of other species are now playing the same game here on Earth, on other countries. Look around you. The power players are once again playing poker with the lives of other people. But something is different this time around. Inside a global awakening, many of you have become conscious of the same game playing inside of yourself, between the human ego and the heart of your soul. And because of that, because of your willingness to acknowledge what is happening inside of you, the light of your own consciousness is shining now like never before. Not with the intention of doing battle, it will not, but with the wisdom to now reveal other options, heart-centered options that would allow this human family to create new opportunities for itself that are based on a sincere love and respect. That's something all of us have been feeling for quite some time. And now that time is here. Let's take another deep breath. Again, thank you for joining us here today. And we understand what we've been sharing here is a lot to take in. The role that Ancient Wings likes to play is to help support such a magnificent transformation, all based on helping you to experience the freedom to now exist inside your own energy. It is priceless, but it must be valued as such to be able to feel its presence. It's the only thing in all of creation that each of us can actually own. And so now would be a good time to own it, right? Your energy offers the very support you've been dreaming of your whole life. So these times represent and have brought to the forefront the endless battles between your heart and mind, between the male and female inside of you, between the dark and the light, between the human and the angel. Our cosmic story is filled with those very battles. Stealing energies became an art form for a variety of non-physical beings. So we brought with us our cosmic story because it's the only story we know, not to make our life even more uncomfortable, but to see if we could create a new one. And so we are. And what some of you have discovered has blown your mind. Some of you have discovered that you have a future version of you, just as you have a past, that is already fully conscious, that is already fully awakened, fully enlightened. You don't have to become that version of yourself. You simply allow it to step forward from within yourself. But, and this again is the big but, is your human self on board with this? Or must it insist on trying to create such a version of itself as itself? And our question for all of you is really simple. How is that going? It's not a judgment. It's just an observation. How is that going? Trying to create an improved version of your human self? Indeed. So, speaking for all of us, We went beyond what is known to us. So by allowing the light of our own consciousness, we now finally have a very solid foundation in place to create what we've been dreaming of for ages. That doesn't mean that those that seem to enjoy playing the role of the dictator or the victim can no longer play those games. But can our dream of a powerless reality coexist with so many power players? Apparently not. We don't think that works any longer. So that means we must be willing to then elevate our life, to be on this planet but not of the power games, to collectively ascend into a higher state of consciousness. That is our dream, our passion, and our joy. And to allow those that enjoy the drama to ascend as well into whatever realm supports the power games. We look forward to sharing in these gatherings with all of you. Unlike today's stream, our future messages will be shorter and to the point, but more importantly, they will always be filled with a great deal of love and respect. The recordings will be posted to watch anytime you want below this live video on the Streaming with Michael page that's located inside the iCreate portal. So that brings us to the end of today's gathering. Feel free to visit our website to learn more about all of our upcoming online events. And following this live stream, in just 2 weeks, we are offering a free sample of our monthly Ask Michael stream inside the new portal, which is free to join. So thank you. Thank you for sharing your light. We know it takes a lot of courage to be a human being right now. That's why you're here. And that's why those that you call aliens are not. You already possess the courage. You already possess the consciousness. You already possess the heart to endure what you've gone through every single lifetime to finally be in this place where it all changes. Until next time, this is the time all of us have been waiting for. And this is your time now to trust the heart of your soul. Be well, my friends. We'll see you next time.